All right, so apparently this move has been working a little bit behind the scenes because I was a little surprised by this. I always thought NDSU specifically did not want to move up because they like being, the big fish in the little pond in the FCS football. But NDSU has officially, for football only, moved up to the Mountain West. That's, of course, a group of six conference. It's not like the Power Four, but it is big leagues. It's FBS football. So they'll be eligible for the playoff. They could go to bowl games. Not till 2028, of course, because they have to do their eligibility period. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the topic. But so NDSU is officially moving up. That is big news. Not only because I'm a UND alum, of course, that matters to me, but just in the football landscape, that is big news because they have beaten Power Five teams before. They have they have like 10 different championships in the FCS, so big news. And first of all, just as a college football fan, I do like the move for that reason. They're like a storied college. They're gonna do good up in the FBS. So just as like and seeing like different teams coming to the Fargo Dome, like Hawaii traveling to the Fargo Dome, that's going to be interesting. And just other big names. It would like Boise State if they were still in the Mountain West. That'd be cool to see them play NDSU. But NDSU can also schedule, non-conference games too. So very cool stuff. I'd like to see like Alabama or someone go to the Fargo Dome, but that's not going to happen because it's not big enough. Um, but yeah, and yeah, like I said, NDSU and other Missouri Valley teams like South Dakota State might move up one day. Like they can play football, and I think you're gonna see that for sure. As if it's a good or bad move, I don't think we know that yet. I don't think we know that yet because NDSU, they've beaten big teams, like they've beaten Iowa famously. They've beaten Kansas State, they've beaten Iowa State, like they've beaten Minnesota. They've beaten tons of big teams. They can obviously compete, but I feel like recently, if you look at a lot of their schedules, they aren't really scheduling a ton of, they haven't scheduled like a big team in a while. I think a couple seasons ago they lost to Arizona when they did. And mainly they've been feasting on, smaller competitions. So NDSU is still really strong, and they just lost in the second round of the playoffs this year. So they're still really strong, but I don't know if they're quite as strong as they were, say, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So we'll see on that front. I mean, and for example, other FCS powerhouses that have moved up, Appalachian State, they've been really good too, but now they're in a little bit of a struggle. Coastal Carolina, they had a big surge right away when they moved up, and now they're really bad. And even James Madison, who's doing good, but they moved up. They went to the playoffs this year, and I remember I was watching this and texting with Jordan and Bradley, of course, and we were all like, what is going on? Like, wave the white flag. Like Oregon is just embarrassing James Madison. So it's very unlikely you're going to be competing for championships at the next level. So how does NDSU adapt to that? That'll be interesting. So I don't think we know for sure how this is. They're going to be good, but will it play out? Because they were paying 17 million to go up. So if they start going 6-6, do they keep their fan base? So I think those are questions. They'll be competitive, but as for how if it's good or bad, I think we'll see because they put a big investment and now they can't just go 7-5 and 6-6. They got to win football games. So we'll see how that goes. So, Jake, what do you think? Good or bad move for NDSU moving up?
Yeah, I mean, as a college football fan, I'm obviously excited for this move. I think that will be interesting to see, North Dakota State travel to these different stadiums, see these different teams travel to the Fargo Dome. And I think that, North Carolina, I think their decision to join the Mountain West is big because maybe they can bring some, talent to the Mountain West that that the Mountain West has basically been lacking for the past couple of years. And I mean, you play football at a high level, you're gonna play football at a high level anywhere you go. It depends on who you play, but you're gonna play football at a high level. And I think that we need to get some big name teams and some big name teams to play North Dakota State. I like to see the Bulldogs or the Hurricanes go up to the Fargo Dome, but we'll see.
So what I think of this is I actually think that's a good move for North Dakota State. I mean, you've had a couple quarterbacks recently come out. I believe Christian Watson also went there. Carson Wentz, Trey Lance went to North Dakota State. So this move is going to put more eyes on them because, with all due respect to the FCS, I mean, most eyes are on the FBS, and that's where most of the general managers or what have you in the NFL look. But for them, I mean, it's playing bigger competition. We'll see if this is a good move. I mean, like Evan mentioned, they've beaten big power teams in the past, actually recently too. Um, but that will remain to be seen if it's a big move. Like Evan mentioned, I mean, Hawaii going for the Fargo Dome would be interesting. North Dakota State going there would be interesting. North Dakota State on the Smurf turf in Boise would be fun. So we're just thinking about all those possibilities. But I mean, for the Bison, and I think and I don't think that they would like fade like go 6-6 or whatever because I mean, they're really the only FBS team in that area, so recruiting still would be North Dakota State's. South Dakota State, it is an amazing FCS program, so they'll still get their players, but the bigger recruits, I think, would go to North Dakota State because FBS, more eyes on them, whatever, better shot at the NFL. Not that North Dakota State had no shot. I mean, I just mentioned the three guys that have been that got drafted to the NFL, pretty high too, I believe. I believe Carson Wentz was number 2 overall, something like that, and Trey Lance was, I believe, number 3, and Christian Watson was drafted in the first round, I think. So I mean, they've gotten players in the NFL pretty highly drafted too. I mean, if you're good, you're going to get drafted. I don't think it matters where you play. But we'll see how this moves out.
Yeah, very good point by Jordan too, right there. I didn't even like South Dakota State because they were probably competing with North Dakota State most for recruits. Now North Dakota State can say, "Oh yeah, well we're FBS," and this might hurt South Dakota State a little bit. So very good point by Jordan on that. All right, should they get playoff eligibility in 2026? I know they're trying to appeal to the NCAA to do that. Other teams have tried in the past when they're moving up and they've failed. And for the people who don't understand this, the reason why they do this is so they don't move up for 1 year and then once like they get meet their goals or whatever they move right back down it might be financial or it might be whatever. That's why the NCAA has those rules. um the eligibility, so they ensure that you're staying FBS. But so no, I don't think they should break the rules. I think 2028 makes sense. You just got to wait 2 years, and then North Dakota State can maybe make the playoff and win championships and all that. So what do you guys think?
I think for 2026, I honestly think North Dakota State should be eligible. I don't think that there should be a punishment. I understand the whole, if North Dakota State makes the playoff and they get embarrassed in the first round or whatever, like I get the whole, well, shoot, I want to go back to FCS. Like I want to go back to, I keep on thinking of it kind of like, the FBS is like kind of like high school and the FCS is like middle school or whatever. And it's like, well, dang, you get your first D in ninth grade, and you're like, well, I want to go back to eighth grade. That's not how this works. But I definitely think that North Dakota State should be eligible. I mean, they've beaten big time teams. So if if you're basically telling North Dakota State, hey, you know what, you're not eligible for the playoff or whatever. I mean, yes, it's still college football, it's still school pride and all that. You're going, you're trying to get looks from the NFL, but realistically, if I'm told I can't do anything, well, why try to do it? Why would North Dakota State try and go 11-1, 12-0, whatever, and try to win the Mountain West and try to be the highest ranked Group of 5 team, possibly host a playoff game. Who knows? But yeah, that's just my main argument. If I'm told not to, if I'm told I have no chance, then why would I even try? Why would I waste my time and effort into doing it?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan makes a good point. Why would you put your time and effort into it? Like, if, say you were in high school and, your coach said you have no chance of making the baseball team. Why would you go out there and, try to make the baseball team if you have no chance of making it? And that's the same situation here. Why would you go out and play your hearts out if you have no chance of making it to one of the biggest stages in sports? Why would you do all that? So I feel like I know there's a precedent for, teams jumping from the FCS to the FBS that, you only allowed in the playoffs for a couple of years. But I think that NCAA should do away with that, to be honest with you.